America, episode 4, season 4, Game of Thrones on What the Flick, Oathkeeper. It turns out that a lot of people do name their swords.
Well,
not
or
just
at least
cunts.
Not just cunts. That's right.
She did name it though.
An interesting episode. You know, it's like a middle. It's one of the episodes I love about all these shows, starting with The Sopranos. It's just an episode of just building. Nothing happened. But, I mean, things happen. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's nothing momentous. It's groundwork laying, but we get to see our characters, interact, and we learn little things. But we're set up for the big, what I assume will be like the happiest Game of Thrones episode ever, the Stark family reunion
at River Run.
Right,
Well,
but
possibly
I mean,
two reunions.
that's what I'm saying. We got one River Run with Sansa and Arya happening at River Run, likely.
Well, the Eyrie.
At where is it going to be?
The Eyrie off in the Vale.
Right, in the Vale. That's what I meant. And then Bran, Rickon, and John.
Oh, you're right. I forgot two different stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so only in Game of Thrones can all these major things happen, and we think like, I totally agree with it. It's a ho-hum episode. We're just, doing a little treadmill, right?
No, it's a building episode where she took control of a city in the first
That's
scene.
exactly what I was going to say. She took Marine, one of the largest cities in existence, right?
I know, but here's the thing about that. Like, until 2 episodes ago, nobody knew fucking Marine existed.
Yeah, that's a very good.
And she's building her army, and it's exciting because she's badass. And every single time she adds more people to her army, she does it in the most epic way possible.
Totally, but it's just, there's no criticism involved here, as we all understand.
Yeah.
But it's just more of her building her army. Like, that's all, that's what she's been doing. She's been building the army. Every time she does it, it's more impressive. Although, let's talk a little bit about one of her great lines. Sometimes you counter injustice with mercy, but she counters injustice with justice. Justice. But like, so what? Our random 163 masters are going to be selected for that? They captured many more than that, right? So there's not a degree like maybe one of those guys is, hey, I let my guys go. Like I'm with you guys. I'll serve you. I get it. I don't get to be in power. I got to give up my land, but I'm down. Oh, you're going to crucify me. Great.
Well, I think you're living out there a little bit. Because, they're the bad guys. They're masters. They kind of agreed all together. Like, maybe there's one out of 160. Maybe there's 3 that they were like, yeah, you know what? We could have picked a better 3 than those 3. But yeah,
one of the
I
things
want to see the
about
paperwork filed. I want to see that process going through.
So early on, we see the strategy of sending in the slaves to appeal to the other slaves, arming them. And like we've seen sort of politicians in the US try to make those sorts of appeals, but it never really works out. We're too apathetic, the rich seem too powerful and everything. But can you imagine like a businessman in Wall Street is walking down an alley or something and he sees like Occupy Wall Street, and then he turns, he sees Occupy Wall Street, and then they just swarm on him. It's sort of like a revenge fantasy for those of us who want the poor to be empowered.
right. Well, not in that way, but actually, I would argue no, but actually, that's the actual thing that runs through the heads at Fox News. Like, they think that that's how Occupy actually is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They think that's what. And look, maybe some people do want that, but I don't want it. I just want the guys, if they committed some crime, to be arrested and serve 9 years in a federal penitentiary.
Right. And by the way, that's when, Ben's
yeah.
point in the real world would be very relevant. That you might get the wrong guy, right?
Right.
So anyway, let alone the fact that you shouldn't do it in the first place. Now back to Game of Thrones. Look, I just want to make one macro point before we move on to each scene. So she took Marine. We found out who killed Joffrey, and then we
Well, it's implied.
Okay, well, very heavily
pretty
implied.
clear.
Yeah, and we found out how the White Walkers become White Walkers, right? So that's a lot of major things that happen. But to me, the 2 great things that happen in this episode is I counter injustice with justice, right? And what are you gonna name it? Oathkeeper.
Yeah,
That was a great moment.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, and
but
also,
overall,
and for
I'm with
you.
Ben. It was a little treadmill. God bless.
So then let's talk about Oathkeeper for a sec before we get back to Marine. So Oathkeeper, I keep talking about it. I've talked about it 100 times. By the way, sometimes this happens. John, Anna, Cenk, Ben.
The original crew.
Oh, the A-team. That's
What?
right.
Thanks for joining us. But the Jaime Lannister the redemption of this character, who was one of the worst characters in television history, right? As we've said many times, his first episode, he's having illicit sex with his sister. It's discovered by a little boy, so he kills him. But
Still having illicit sex with the sister, by the way.
As far as he knew, he killed him.
Murder.
Right. Just a freak accident prevents the kid from being murdered, right? Yeah. So he's as bad as it gets. And he's like a handsome, doesn't care what anybody thinks, has his own rules. I mean, he is the worst guy. And then slowly, he starts this redemptive process where along the way, he does some terrible things. Kills people who try to ally themselves with him while in prison to get out. But then loses his hand and seems to gain some perspective on what life is like for people who aren't Jaime Lannister.
There were a few humbling experiences that he went through.
And he learned from them. Like plenty of great, of big shots have humbling experiences, and it means nothing to them. It's a roadblock on their way to stepping on more people. But he doesn't seem interested on stepping on the weak anymore, which he had no problems about. That said, he has this, in a world we live in, a show written in 2014, I guess there's some debate about it online, but he commits a sexual assault on his sister at their son's funeral, under their son's coffin, open coffin, right? Now, some people suggested that she was slightly willing. Like, I mean, I guess she kissed him back. Seems like a stretch to me. And then, boom, the next week, we're back to Oathkeeper. Yeah. He'll do whatever he can to make sure that Sansa's safe. He'll disobey Cersei. He's clearly going to help Tyrion because he feels that's his duty. It is a fascinating character arc because they're willing to take him on an arc like this, and then in the middle of it, they're like, nope.
Right. Well, so two things about that. Number one, Ben is 100% right. There's no other show in the history of the world where someone could rape their sister while they're at their son's funeral, and then we love him the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay, that's impossible. It's not doable.
Don't even
except
talk
for
about
Game of Thrones,
but I think that there are obviously a number of factors that we're not, well, maybe we're considering it, but we're overlooking it just a little bit. Everyone hates Cersei. That's right. Cersei is despicable, right? And also, in that scene, look, I watched that scene, and yes, it's uncomfortable, but you do get the sense that she kind of wants it. Because she didn't pull away. And look, this is me as a liberal woman talking and giving my perspective on that scene.
Well, 2 points. First point, I just want to point out another Game of Thrones t-shirt from lexhead.com. If you'd like to get one, you can head down to the description. There will be a link.
I wanted to say something about that. We're reunited as the Starks that apparently we're now calling ourselves, which seems like a bad idea. Okay.
We're all gonna die.
And last week you had the Stark shirt on. The real Starks are about to get reunited, as Ben pointed out. Well, you got to wear it next week.
I just might. And we're going to try to get her to wear a Targaryen one. But yeah, they got a whole bunch of them. Go to lexhead.com. We got a link that credits us and stuff. But also, so onto that, I think there's been a million words written about the rape. I think that if you watch it multiple times, maybe they didn't play it the way they were supposed to, but even in the scene, the way they did it, she is kissing him back and stuff like that. And she makes clear with what she says that she doesn't want to do it there. It's not that she doesn't want to do it.
It's wrong. It's wrong to do it under their dead son's body.
And look, there's a lot of differences between the sort of timing of that scene in the show and in the books. But George R.R. Martin's intent was not for him to just brutally rape her. And so to some extent, I think people are misperceiving it, and to some extent, the creators of the show messed up in how they shot that or how they edited it or something.
Or maybe that was their interpretation. Remember, the show is different than the books.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But Anna makes a fair point. The victim, we're not supposed to victim blame. I'll victim blame Cersei. I don't care. I don't care what happens to her. I don't care.
It's a TV show, by the way.
Yeah, it's a TV show. But if Cersei... Like, I'm against torture, but I don't care if Adolf Hitler got tortured. I don't care. I don't care. And I'd probably watch and cheer for it and then think, well, that's wrong of me. But I don't care. And she's the TV version of a girl Hitler.
Okay. Ben is no longer living out.
No.
Okay. Sometimes you answer injustice with justice.
So that had something to do with it, but it's still his character. Following his character is still incredibly interesting because that first scene we see him in here, maybe it's not the first scene, but we see him whenever he's fighting Lefty with Bronn. You're like, oh, Jaime, you couldn't do it.
And also, so there's two sides of the Oathkeeper thing. Obviously, sort of the subtext is that he is keeping his oath. He was sort of reminded of it by her, but also by Cersei. But she has an oath to keep now. And it's what we discuss generally is what he has learned from her example over the course of their trip from River Run to King's Landing. But has she learned something?
Okay, wait. I got to jump in with two things there. So on the character arc, but that's what's so great about George R.R. Martin, that there is no conventional character arc.
We could just call him George Martin when we're just talking.
Okay, I don't know. What do people normally do?
GRRM.
Okay,
that's
all right.
ridiculous.
Anyway,
The writer, the author.
Okay, he's gray. He's gray. He's gray. There is no like you think like it went like this. You're right. It did go like that. You think it won't go back down?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's why we don't know what's going to happen. That's why we love this show.
I don't think it will go back down, but it's because there are standards of TV of what we do, and there are certain things that you can't have a TV character do, and one of them is rape their sister at their son's funeral. But
it's
HBO.
But when your sister is Cersei, you get out of it. Like, they found the one circumstance. So I sort of now see, and it's just, again, I'm just idly speculating. I don't read the comments. You can tell me I'm right, tell me I'm wrong. I don't believe Jaime Lannister is long for the show. I believe that kind of weakness will be rewarded with death.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, that kind of weakness is the wrong word. You know what I mean by it.
Mercy.
That kind of mercy, that kind of
empathy,
that empathy, that being human, allowing yourself to be human in a world where Tywin Lannister and to some extent Diana Rigg rule the world. You're going to pay for that.
Well, you know why? Because sometimes justice is met with injustice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, all the time in this show. All the time in the show. It's amazing.
So, and then let's not conclude the Oathkeeper part without mentioning the other incredibly important part of that Oathkeeper. The reason why it was so powerful is because he's the Kingslayer, and the most critical thing about him is that he broke his oath. And that's her saying, I don't believe you're that guy.
Right.
Okay. And remember, he told her the story, right? About how he actually saved the city by killing the king, right?
Yeah.
So she's saying to him, no matter who else knows or doesn't know, I know that your real name is the Oathkeeper.
Right.
Right? And so that's why it was like, oh, I got a chill down my spine. I like that.
Plus, I mean, she got the sword and the armor. Like, she's been made fun of her whole life. I think when she's got both of those on, people won't be making fun of her.
Will she end up in a relationship with Hodor?
Maybe my perception of this is skewed, and I'm totally wrong about it. But there's like a little bit of a love connection between her and Jaime, right? There's something there.
I think that it's the first person that Jaime feels like knows who he really is, that understands who he really is, that doesn't see him as a caricature, the Kingslayer, sort of, that he is. So it's that kind of connection, without question. Yes. So in that sense, yes, I agree.
I think that she actually loves him. Okay.
And I agree, she loves him.
Right. And I think that ironically, he sees her as a sister. Right? Like he sees his sister as a lover, and he sees someone who theoretically could be a lover as a sister, right? And it's not just a relationship about love, it's more of a relationship about respect, right? Yeah. That there's a mutual deep respect.
But she's built that way. She is built to serve. Like, you know, I mean, she loved. But
Jaime wouldn't give her a chance.
No, but she loved Renly, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, she was dedicated to Renly. Right. We didn't get to know Renly enough, but I mean, Renly seemed like a decent fellow, right?
Decent, but a slight doofus.
A little bit of a doofus.
Yeah, I mean, to say doofus sounds like overly harsh, but he was certainly not the brightest bulb in the kingdom.
No.
Of the 5 kings,
charming, loved.
Right.
Supposed to be an okay fighter.
Right.
We don't see that, but.
Yeah, but of the 5 kings, I would have put him at the top for who's going to go first.
Totally, yeah.
Right. So that's Oathkeeper. Now, do we want to go back to Meereen? So she takes frees these slaves. As Ben said, I think it was obviously, especially given the end of the last episode, entirely predictable. She's got all of her. I want to ask John a question here, but I don't think I'm allowed.
Like, you can ask. I just don't answer.
Okay. Oh, here's the question to ask. Has she taken every frickin' city in the South already? Can we move on? Or
it's
are
actually
there more?
The East. It's like the far East, basically.
Oh, okay.
She's taken.
Has she taken Singapore? Are we done?
She's taken the equivalent of. She's taken some major ones. But I will answer your question with another question. What do you think her next move will be?
I think she's ready to sail.
Like, so that's what, but that's my question. Like, okay, so you shouldn't answer it. You're probably right. But my point is, I got it. You took all the eastern cities.
And I think, again, from a TV point of view, I don't think this seemed to be, this was a nice thing about sort of, again, the slaves masters, reiterates it for this season. It was all last season. We now see how big the army is. She has the complete loyalty of all her guys. Not only are they former slaves, but they're learning. She's educating them, right? There's a whole world being, there's clearly a love affair. Whether they can consummate physically or not, I don't know. They can't have children, but who knows between Grey Worm and her translator. So that's like that. Nice things are happening, and this is building to something. But seeing her now take another city that we've never heard of would seem pointless.
Yeah. From now on, this was perfect.
Yep,
Don't get me wrong. Like the taking a Marine with the throwing of the chains, etc. Wonderful. Okay. And when they were chanting Misa, Misa again.
Yeah.
But this time, I felt like it was even another level. Before it seemed provincial, like, hey, they chanted that because they were super happy. This time she seemed like a historic figure.
Yeah.
Also, like Lincoln was child's play compared to the number of people she's, free.
And also we got what she's capable of doing. I mean, it wasn't, they weren't, we saw the way the slaves turned on the we saw the barbarism of the slaves. So they're capable of being fighters. These people who didn't think they could fight, give them some weapons and they'll fight. I mean, they'll although, it's weird, mob violence, no matter who the victim is, I always hate to see it. Even for the master there. Even though John loved it and wants to see it apparently happen on the streets of the United States of America.
It just as a fantasy.
But also, the first shot we got a Marine from above that had a very the Nazi emblem. That was the Nazi eagle. So and then it was clearly they took an evil city. They put their own flag up there. I guess that's her flag, right?
It's the symbol for the Targaryens.
For the dragon.
Right?
Yeah. So that was good. So yeah, you can't argue with that, but I don't want to see it again. Like I think she should get the ships. Let's go. What do you got? A 1,000,000-man army, right? Time to sail. Okay, and that's what she has to do. She has to sail ultimately, right?
Can I ask a hypothetical? I'm going to try not to spoil anything. To say we've seen her do a lot of things, but there are also things we haven't seen her do.
Okay.
Think about that in advance of next week.
I actually don't want to think about that. Because John's done a great job of not spoiling it. We keep egging him on. Let's just leave it alone.
I don't want to spoil that. But I mean, like last year, the issue was getting ships. If she wants to go to King's Landing, there's water in the way from still where she is, right? Yeah. Okay. So
water and now a significant distance.
Okay. So she's got ground to cover.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And marches could be deadly.
Right. And apparently everywhere except there, winter is coming.
Yeah. It's very hot there.
Yeah.
That's why I keep thinking it's south. Right, so the White Walkers, we figured out here collectively as we were watching it live about 30 seconds before it happened that they don't kill the babies. Yeah. It turns out that, and we said they might be White Walkers. That's what they turn, and that's what it turns out to be. They go, and then you become a White Walker.
Yeah. So let me ask an ignorant question about that. So what happens to the babies? Like they turn into White Walkers, and do they grow up as White Walkers, or do they remain little White Walker babies?
I think
they run around in the yard as White Walkers.
They're always that size.
Yeah. No, I think they grow up, but I mean, I think they're little White Walker babies, and they go to White Walker Elementary.
Like one of the White Walkers, guys, this doesn't seem like the best plan. We got a bunch of babies here.
Yeah.
It's like Chucky's bride or whatever. They run around biting people's ankles.
That's interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I think that's how they, I mean, that can't be the only way, but I presume other people were probably also donating babies, sacrificing babies.
I have to be honest with you. They keep showing the White Walkers, and they look so badass, and they look so powerful and strong and scary. And then I always think back to when Samuel killed one of them, and I'm like, you ain't shit. I'm not worried about you.
I totally agree with that. Because it was as long as you have the magic, what was it, Valerian steel? Or?
No, he had the dragon glass, obsidian.
Yeah, dragon glass. As long as you have the dragon glass, sorry, boom,
but understand from that thing's point of view, it had been invincible for thousands of years. It had no expectation that it could be harmed at that time.
And how did he get the dragon glass?
Remember they found the cache of it in the ground?
The first
they found it.
Yeah. And then he dropped it, and I was like, are you fucking mental? You just killed a White Walker with that thing. Pick it up and go back and get all of them and bring it back to Castle Black.
Yeah, we had literally the dumbest character in the entire series kill the most powerful, creature.
No, that's not fair. He's actually pretty smart in other things, right?
Really?
That was an incredibly boneheaded move.
He's better than Jon Snow at reading.
Yeah. No, he's educated and stuff. He's the weakest character.
Okay,
literally the weakest
is
character.
Probably a better word.
Right.
But in some cases, he's pretty dumb as well.
So I'm with Anna. We know that they have this massive Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a letdown, given the Game of Thrones, like fire and ice.
Again, I'll point out, it didn't expect him to have that. Like, you still have to hit it with it.
Right. And by the way, and we should also point out,
why would the White Walker even? It's like nobody has dragonglass.
Yeah, and by the way, Sam Tarly then has gone on to, as far as I can tell no one about that. Like, as far as we've seen in the show, whereas I'd be like, dragonglass, everybody, dragonglass, okay, and this is going to be no big deal, okay? Make sure they don't see it coming, but dragonglass, like what? Come on! So that's so far. If Sam dies right now, they don't know the Achilles heel of otherwise invincible creatures.
Right.
Like,
the only person who knows it is little Sam's mom.
Yeah, but she's so dim-witted, she doesn't even know, right? Aww. So, look, last thing about the White Walkers, and then we got to come back to, speaking of dim-witted, we got to come back to Sansa and finding out who killed Joffrey. So, when the guy was approaching, I was expecting to see Craster's face. You know why? Because the White Walkers are an army of Craster's sons.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the one that touched the baby, though, you saw had like horns coming out and stuff like that. Like he looked freaky, and he was dressed very differently than we've seen them. He was wearing some kind of armor or something like that.
Right. So obviously
we've seen like hobo White Walkers up until now.
Yeah. And Craster was not a pleasant fellow, so I think they've picked a decent guy to build an army of White Walkers.
Who killed the Starks? Who was the Walter?
Oh, Frey, Lord Frey.
Lord Frey.
Walder Frey. Yeah.
Walder. Right.
You're close.
He and Castor, they look a lot alike.
That's interesting.
To me, they have
Could be distantly related, maybe.
Kind of the same look and the same kind of guy. All right, let's talk about a great word that you don't get to hear enough of, regicide. So Tyrion stands accused of regicide, and we really found out who did it. They didn't draw this out. I mean, the mayor of Baltimore talked about how he was prepared to, he had new friends, and his new friends are very eager for this to happen, and then they just cut, boom, to a shot of Diana Rigg walking with her granddaughter, and then she just admits it. Maybe more people were involved. He did say new friends, but she wants the people close to her to know that she had Joffrey killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was curious that those two characters, and I thought it was almost unfortunately a plot device for the readers initially, and now the viewers, because I can't imagine. Look, I can imagine Diana Rigg telling her granddaughter for some strategic reasons, like heads up, this is how we roll, okay? And
training.
Training, that kind of stuff. I cannot imagine Littlefinger telling Sansa. I mean, unless he's about to kill her. Like, why would you let this knucklehead know?
He didn't tell her. She doesn't know. She just knows it was obviously a conspiracy.
Well, I guess.
But also, for 3 seasons now, he is supposedly the best secret keeper, the best spy. He keeps telling people, "Ooh, I'm so clever. You should not trust me." He's been doing that for a long time, and he obviously wants to impress her.
Yeah, no, I can see that. And the other obvious part is that obviously he had something to do with it, right? Otherwise she wouldn't be on the ship. Otherwise he wouldn't have known about it, etc. But to give the level of detail that would then implicate him, like the jewelry, etc.
It seems unnecessary.
But
it does seem
he wasn't complicit. He did it.
But
right? That's a different level.
He did mention last week he's completely confident that she is complicit too. Like, you're a part of it. You go down, if I go down, you go down. Like, he knows she's not going to say.
I wouldn't trust Sansa with the fact that I had an extra cookie at night.
Yeah.
Like,
interesting.
Yeah, like she's a knucklehead. I mean, the same reason Littlehead said he doesn't trust a fat knight, right? Like, he's a drunk and an idiot, right?
Littlehead.
Yeah, it's funny. I think you can trust Sansa.
It's funny.
You can trust Sansa, I think, and also, but she knew that Tyrion didn't do it. She's not so dumb.
No, look, when Tyrion and Jaime are having the conversation inside the jail cell, and they're like, are you sure it wasn't Sansa? I'm like, why don't you just say the obvious? She's way too stupid to have brilliantly done a poisoning and gotten away with it. Who would think that? Who knows Sansa?
Yeah, let's not get off Diana Rigg too much, because last week you gave a preposterous explanation for why it couldn't have been Diana Rigg.
What was that?
Cenk did.
No.
Yes.
No, I gave it so I would, okay, come to think of it, I might be 3/4 wrong. I was going to say that I was half right, half wrong. So I was actually totally wrong about the sword and the cutting of the cake and the killing of the pigeon. And like, that was, I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. And you talked about how Diana Rigg in her conversation with her granddaughter, the timing didn't work, that it would have been better if it had been consummated.
Yes, so I was saying that was part of my thing of like, hey, don't think that Littlefinger wouldn't do this on his own because he wants to get everything. You remember me saying that, right? And so this might be an early play and they don't suspect him, etc. So that's the quarter that I was, I think, definitely right about, right? But I wasn't saying Diana Rigg wasn't involved. I was saying just don't discount that it could have been just Littlefinger. Now the other quarter that I'm wrong about is, well, it's not really wrong. I was just saying, like, don't rule it out. But he didn't do it alone.
Somebody go back to the tape. I think you ruled her out by the nature of that conversation.
Somebody go back to
comment it.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of her conversation with Margaery, I do think, one, she's trying to provide sort of a strong role model for Margaery. Like, she doesn't seem as much like Tywin is. He cares about, you know, like Tommen, for instance, but he's a manipulator.
No, he doesn't. Tywin cares about Tommen?
To some extent, he's blood. No. He wants him to be strong and blah, blah, blah. But he's trying to manipulate him. But I'm drawing a comparison.
How it reflects on him. Go on.
Okay, perhaps. But I haven't really gotten that impression on the show from Diana Rigg. Like, it seems like they're connected. They are buddy-buddy. Like, she wants her to be strong. And what better way than to show her, like, yeah, someday you might have to fucking kill someone.
Right, and I think that's right. I think she has complete trust that there's no risk, zero risk in telling her granddaughter, and in fact some advantage that, you know, this is serious business. We killed the king. We killed this king because I want to help you, because it would have been a catastrophe if you had to be with that guy. Whereas his soft, weak, manipulable 9-year-old brother, perfect for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that is true. It's all I'm saying is that when you tell someone a secret, not only is it a danger to you because they could say it to someone else otherwise, it's also a danger to them.
That's true.
Right? And that's why I was surprised that she would endanger her granddaughter in that way. Although I agree with you guys, it's a minimal danger.
Yeah.
And
the granddaughter is part of the master plan.
Right.
So she needs to know what's going on.
So that connects Tywin and Diana Rigg together, right? And I'm sure that everyone loves the way we're referring to the actors' names combined with the characters' names.
Sometimes the characters they play in The Wire.
Right, and that too. Okay.
Right, I'm going to just start referring to him as Mayor Tommy.
Okay. So, no, I like the Baltimore Mayor. Okay. So Diana Rigg and Tywin think very similarly. They're very similar characters, except obviously Diana Rigg is a little bit more towards justice and Tywin's more towards injustice. But like, Tywin thinks, I want to be king. I'm going to be king through this boy. And, you know, Joffrey wasn't going to quite let me be king through him, so that was really freaking annoying, and I wanted to poison him myself, so thank you, right? So he doesn't give a damn about his blood unless that person is then going to be like him, right? He's so frustrated that Tyrion won't be like him, incredibly frustrated that Jaime won't be like him. Yeah. He's like, why won't you just do
the only
like
one
me?
like me is my friggin' daughter.
Right. And so
and she's too irrational.
Now, and in the case of Diana Rigg, her granddaughter appears to be just like her. So she's like, yes.
Maybe not as good in bed.
Yeah. I love that scene. That was an awesome scene.
Yeah. I was very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Walk. Couldn't walk. I also like that Diana Rigg doesn't have the greed and hubris and lust for power that the Lannisters have. They're comfortable having enough power. She's looking to secure their place. And as it happens, this is a pretty high place to secure it. But if it meant, I think, slightly less than the throne, but they were safe and secure and with wealth, she'd be like Littlefinger won't accept that. The Lannisters wouldn't accept that.
Yeah.
Like, she's reasonable. She's willing to...
And bear in mind, she says that she turned down a marriage to a Targaryen.
That's right. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Marrying a Targaryen was all the rage at the time.
That was a great line.
Trendy.
Yeah. Trashy. Every episode...
She turned trashy.
Yeah, every episode, they have better lines than the rest of TV combined for that whole year, right? So, yeah, look, she's more measured, which is a significant advantage.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it, Ben. I didn't think about it that way. Both Tywin and Littlefinger are lustful for power.
Yeah.
And that's a weakness, as being lustful for women would be, or wine, or gold, or whatever it might be. And she doesn't have that weakness.
Yeah.
So that's a significant advantage.
And now we see it. Now neither does Jaime. It seemed like Jaime does, but he doesn't. Like, in fact, at the time when he thought maybe I could find some happiness in this small little universe I created, granted I'm a Lannister and I'd be sleeping with my sister and she's super powerful, but I mean, he's like, nobody needs to know. I don't need to go off. I don't need to go back home and rule Casterly Rock, blah, blah, blah. I don't need this. I want my world. and it's okay in the confines of that world.
So should we turn to the lust part of after the conversation with Diana Rigg?
What was the lust?
Margaery goes off.
Oh, yeah, right.
Midnight adventure.
So two things. One,
little secret.
Littlefinger / Littlehead. I just have to note it before we leave. / Baltimore Mayor is Anna said it while we were watching live. Is the worst actor. He's distracting.
Yeah.
Like this year, his accent is more pronounced than it was last year.
Right? Can I answer that?
Let me tell you something, Sansa.
Can I answer that though? This is just speculation that it shouldn't be spoilery at all. This is speculation among people who've read the books of why that is, and it's that.
So I wasn't imagining it. His accent
It is very different. And it could just be that he's overacting now. That's entirely possible. But it could also be that he is a guy who puts up a mask, and that's how he gets by. And if you remember, he's talked about his past. He comes from like a nothing house, like the tiny, like the least noble house possible. And then he goes to the capital, and he's with all the most powerful people in the world, and suddenly he's talking like in a more kingly sort of way. But now he's away from it, and he talks more like he's from the country and stuff.
No, that's interesting.
No, I don't think so. I got the sense that he was putting on even bigger airs. As he gets closer to power, no, I will talk like this.
But I don't think he's talking in the whisper voice. He's talking.
He's always doing the whisper voice.
He's a bad actor.
That's possible.
But I don't think, well, it's a guy named Aidan Gillen. He wasn't bad in The Wire.
No, I didn't like him in The Wire.
Is that right?
Yeah, I thought he stood out in my second favorite show of all time. Right? And stood out and was like, whoa, what's that about? Okay. Anyway, now who I thought was a good actor was a little kid.
Yeah.
So Margaery comes in, and that kid looked like he was like within.
Like a 10-year-old who just busted a nut.
Yeah, within 3 centimeters of orgasm.
His dragon hatched as she was sitting there.
Right, and he did a great job of being like, is this shit? Is it on? Like, is this shit happening for the? Holy shit! I can't believe that was my brother's. Oh, like, you know what I'm saying?
And he's a little kid.
Yeah, he did a great job
How old
there.
is he in the book? What is he now? 12?
In the books, I think he's like 8 or something like that.
Oh my God.
Joffrey is 13
Oh, so they
in
made
the books
everybody
when he
a little
died.
older.
Yeah, they're all like
don't-
4 or 5 years older.
Yeah, don't.
He's probably 13, 14 in the show.
Yeah, don't think about the books in terms of ages because it'll creep you out.
yeah.
So just let's assume.
Yeah, Daenerys was like
12 or
11 or 12.
Yeah. By the way, in the real world, in England, for example, you could start ruling at 12.
Is that right?
Yeah. So.
God, isn't that trippy?
Yeah, I remember reading that in whatever their big castle.
I love the wolves. I'm glad to see the wolves. I want them to get it out. I love how smart they are. The scene that
They did it pretty naturally, the effects. I
yeah,
thought.
totally. And they got me. The scene that got me hooked on the show when I watched, I think, the first 3 or 4 episodes to catch up in season 1. I was home by myself on a Saturday night, and I was like, all right, this stupid fantasy show with the Dungeons and Dragons meets Lord of the fucking Rings and Mordor. Right? John's like, oh, that show would be great. It would be awesome. I would love to watch that show. And I watch it, and I liked the first episode. It was good. But then I guess it was the second episode, I think, if my memory, when Bram's wolf killed the assassin. Mm-hmm. And you didn't see it coming. There was no shot of the wolf ahead of time. The guy comes in, and then it just jumped out. And I got out of my chair. And I was like, oh, fuck. Right? This is awesome. And then with blood dripping from it, the guy's dead. He's bleeding out on the floor. And the dog just gets back up on the bed and snuggles in next to Bram. Like, I got you.
So it turns out it was Dungeons and Dragons meets Lord of the Flies.
It was, yeah.
Instead of Lord of the Rings.
Or Dungeons and Dragons meets Marley and Me.
Yeah, I think that's how it was sold to HBO.
I don't like dogs.
But also, so when
You don't like
he,
dogs?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Fucking JR.
So he inhabits, the wolf and everything, and I always get a little bit antsy when that sort of thing happens because there's very rarely like fantasy, and I'm always worried like, oh shit, are we gonna lose somebody? Are we gonna lose Cenk? Because his eyes go white and roll back.
I don't. That's not my favorite thing. I don't like warging.
It's fine.
Warging, I could do with that. So this week I like the influence that Game of Thrones has had on the rest of culture. This week we reviewed The Other Woman, which stars Nikolai Coster-Waldau. Is that I'm pronouncing it right?
I think so.
Which stars Jaime Lannister, and the whole point of the story is he's married to Leslie Mann, who's a very silly movie, but he's married to Leslie Mann, who's awesome. And then he's having an affair with Cameron Diaz, and then they find out, and then they get together and they become friends. And like, how could he do this to both of us? So we can't believe it. And then it turns out, oh wait, he's actually having an affair on both of them with Kate Upton.
Spoiler! Hello!
Jeez.
And then the three of them get together, and then at the end of the movie, they're all stunned to learn that he's nailing his sister.
So they cut off his hand.
Oh,
can I ask real quick?
So I got it in this one.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. That's a John Iadarola line.
Oh, is that right? So the Oathkeeper, is that Jaime's sword that his father gave him, Tywin gave him, or was it Joffrey's sword?
It's Jaime's.
I think it's Jaime's. I assume Tywin took back Joffrey's probably.
Yeah. Okay, and gave it to
with
Tywin.
A heavy heart. He was like, oh, I guess he doesn't need this anymore.
Yeah.
It's my dead grandson, my dead idiot grandson doesn't need this anymore.
Yeah, okay.
What's for dinner? Yeah. So what else? Is that it? Are we good?
No, I mean, we've got all the stuff with Bran and the traitors and Jon Snow. We've got Locke shows up at the wall.
We didn't really learn anything there. That's just setting us up for obviously that raiding party, complete with Ramsay Youssef's guy. Not Ramsay Youssef.
Ramsay Snow.
Ramsay Snow. Is it Ramsay Youssef, Cat Stevens?
Yes.
I think so.
Or is he one of the World Trade Center bombers?
It might be one of the World Trade Center bombers. Either way, so
maybe 1993 World Trade Center bomber. I'm not sure.
I think that's right. So Ramsay Youssef. So that guy is part of Jon Snow's raiding party, and the whole point that he joined up was, hey, I'm going to try and find Jon Snow and the two Stark boys. Man, did he pick the right party to join, because they're all about to meet right there.
Yeah.
And will he? And the question is, will he be able to return with that information to Lord Bolton and his crazy bastard son? And can Theon snap out of it in some way to assist or break out of his spell to save the boys? Will Theon's sister show up at some point to save him because she's a badass? Or do the Snow gang and the Stark brothers just kill the living shit out of that guy right there?
Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, I don't think he has any intention of capture. Could you imagine if he captures them, brings them back to the insane bastard son?
No.
And they draw out Bran and Jon Snow, and you're like, no, Stark, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Jon Snow loses his tongue, and now he's got no sexual
I don't think he needs to bring him
repertoire.
back, but he'll just kill him.
He'll kill him, that's
Right,
my
yeah,
point.
yeah.
If he were to be successful, which I don't even think Game of Thrones is dark enough for that guy to be successful and kill all three of the Starks at that moment, that'd be crazy.
But he might not be, but of course it's
Maybe
Game
at
of
a wedding.
Thrones.
He could, yeah, I was going to say maybe he invites him to a wedding.
But he could go back, he could be thwarted in that effort, get away, and still be able to relay that information to Lord Bolton and his crazy bastard
Important
son.
point to bear in mind, Rickon Stark is not with them, remember?
Oh, right. Where Rickon went
the
with...
wildling woman took him away
right.
last season.
Oh, so that's right. So
Okay,
it's not
okay,
a
that's
full,
a good point.
it's not a full unification.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't
Where
see
was she
them.
taking him? Was she taking him to
I don't remember if she said, and so I won't say just in case. But you can look it up.
Like, it seems like everybody's going back to the Vale.
To the Vale, right? With the crazy mom with the 13-year-old
By the way,
breastfeeding.
they don't know what they're going back to.
Yeah, right.
Like,
oh, great! I'm going to go see my aunt.
Yeah.
I can go for some milk.
Yeah.
One other thing that we didn't talk about that maybe we could quickly talk about, we did finally have Jaime going to see Tyrion. And that might not, maybe in the long run it's not super significant, but I do like that Bran, who normally is just sort of there for comic relief and stuff like that, steps in, apparently without any urging by Tyrion, and reminds Jaime of what he should do, which either implies that he's just smart and he's doing what Tyrion would want, or maybe he's bonding with Jaime in some way, and he feels like, you know what, you should really be doing this. Like,
I think
you should see him.
He's bonded with Tyrion. It's legitimate. Like, they make jokes about, oh, you pay me, I'll go to the highest bidder. Fuck that. That's his boss, and he loves his boss.
And he's now bonding with Jaime, and he's doing what he does.
That was a great line and a great way to put it, and it would work with Jaime, who actually is a guy who does keep his oaths, even though everybody.
Right.
Yeah, now Jaime hasn't done anything yet based on that, except for going to see him. But
Right.
He will, and don't you think?
Sorry.
And who we might use is what's that guy's name? The guy who's on the Othor or whatever.
Hodor?
No.
Oberyn?
Wait, who are you talking about?
Othor.
Oprah.
Oberyn.
Oh.
Oprah.
Yeah, because he's one of
bisexual woman.
he's one of the judges, and he likes Tyrion.
Oh, right.
Right.
Like, it's now gotten so confused. I'm like, wait, who was the Newark mayor again?
Sorry, Anna, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to make a quick point about that scene with Jaime and Tywin. I mean, that goes back to what we talked about earlier on in this video. that's the reason why people love Jaime. I mean, that's another example of him kind of redeeming himself and showing us that he's not a terrible person. I'm sorry, with Tyrion, I apologize. Yeah, like that, the sympathy that he showed him in that scene makes you kind of like him and ignore the negative arcs, you know, when he seems like a totally...
Why can't he then, if that's who Jaime is, and we all think it's who he is, why can't he tell his sister to fuck off?
Because he loves her.
Because he's fucking his sister.
That's his lust. That's his weakness.
I get it, but at some point we but she's beyond evil.
He told her that he doesn't think Tyrion did it again, which is a bold move with her.
Yeah, no, it won't work.
And basically he told her, no, I'm not going to kill Sansa.
Yeah.
And that is actually maybe a bolder move, right? It's like basically he's saying, no, my oath to the Starks is more important than our son, right? I thought that was massive.
Yeah, and he didn't care about Joffrey at all either.
Right.
And how did that scene end? With
she sent him away eventually.
She just sent him away, right? That's all.
That'll be all, Lord.
That'll be all, right? She treated him like a guard and nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, one final point that
by
we
the
didn't
way,
mention.
I'm wearing this because I think that for the first time they've made a wardrobe mistake. Because I think that don't you think that Jaime's leather jacket seems like it's kind of from like 2004. Like it's super modern.
Oh,
you know?
Really? No, that's
and he's like been wearing it 3 straight episodes now. And I
thought there was going to be a Lex Head connection. I'm like, are we sponsored for that too?
No.
I want to get a leather jacket sponsorship. But yeah, so I do think it was, maybe they didn't, like the creators of the show did not expect the sort of pushback based on that scene from last episode, the rape scene. But I think it's interesting that immediately after that, they followed up by sending us north of the wall to Casa de Rape, where everybody's raping everybody.
Yeah. These rapists, these murderers who served at Castle Black, it turns out they're actually rapers and killers. And
that's
like
exactly
sometimes it's Sam or Jon Snow and guys who are in a bad way, and some guys who got a raw deal, and then some of them are the worst of the worst.
Yeah, it's not the merry men or something like that.
Yeah.
They're bad people.
But it's not unexpected. Like when we flashed back to Craster's house, I fully expected that they would be mid-rape of everybody, you know, and those are not pleasant guys.
Yeah.
Although I was a little surprised.
Not even to each other.
Yeah, the leader there, when he started talking about, I killed 9 men and you want to be the rich, you know, whatever, I thought, oh, somebody's just going to knife him right in the back and he's like,
yeah, why?
Right. So I was really surprised he didn't die by the end of the episode.
And I can't believe the guy who taunted the White Wolf, what's his name? Sonny?
Oh, yeah, whatever, the fat guy.
Right. I don't.
Yeah, whatever that wolf's name is.
Well, that's Ghost. But
Ghost.
Yeah.
The guy who taunted Ghost. Yeah, I was looking for the wolf.
Oh, I thought you meant that guy. Well, like, who knows that guy?
No, who knows that guy? But I mean, that guy in every TV show, that guy dies.
I know.
And he lived through the episode. I can't friggin' believe it.
Yeah, it's almost like he had a red shirt on.
Yeah, totally. Like, I
survived.
can't believe it. The White Walkers came, he taunted the wolf, the thing froze. I'm like, oh, you're going to get it. Nope, he made it back. Yeah.
And you're like, George R.R. Martin, that's the one guy you didn't kill?
You gotta mix it up.
Okay, and to just round it all back to Bran, he keeps to his character, right? His character is, I'm going to be brutally honest. And these Lannisters seem to kind of like that. Like, hey, you know what? So I'm going to give Jaime a hand, and I'm going to say this is what you should do.
He did give him a hand.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
See, my wink was that I knew that was a...
Okay.
And a good one.
So we were talking about the red shirts. I don't know if lexhead.com has red shirts, but it does have a lot of Game of Thrones shirts, not just like this, it's also the house ones.
What's the website again?
It's lexhead.com, but if you just go down below the like button in the description, there will be a link that'll take you right to the Game of Thrones section. They have a ton of them. I have like 3 now.
They're nice t-shirts?
Yeah, it feels really good. Yeah. We gotta up our t-shirt game.
So obviously they're sponsoring us, God bless their hearts, but they are cool shirts. And you're going to be a Targaryen next week, and you're going to be a Stark?
I think so.
Okay, all right, well, we should get reunited. We should, yeah, all right, we'll have team jerseys later.
We'll get a Martell shirt, and you can be a Lannister or something.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to wear my own goddamn clothes.
Wow, it's Bran over here.
All right, thanks everybody. Next week, enjoy.